WECU 1570 AM and W298BX 107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina. WNOS 1450 AM and W272EK 102.3 FM, licensed to New Bern, North Carolina.
Motivations with Glenn.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for tuning into Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. Awesome Radio, Winterville, Greenville, North Carolina. You are tuned to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Collins-Williams. I would like to begin today with one document to clear up some things for myself and Apostle. Because last week we were talking about a distressed animal in the state of North Carolina. And one of the things I told Apostle was, I think it's a North Carolina law that you render aid to the distressed animal. But upon further research, I did come up with a North Carolina law. Now, to render aid, that doesn't mean you have to physically touch the animal or anything like that, because the North Carolina law recommends that you not do so. But rendering aid is also calling. You can call local law enforcement, whoever you need to call animal control. That's also rendering aid. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Collins-Williams.
Hey, Dr. Glenn, and to our listening audience on today, we are so glad to be here and so glad for this subject, glad for the clarity. And I know you remember what I said last week.
Okay, repeat it. Go ahead, repeat it.
What I said concerning a distressed animal. I said, I will not. I will not stop to help them because the animal could bite you or something, and animals they're not always nice to me. And, you're trying to help a distressed animal. So I'm glad that we have the specifics here and the perimeters in which you can help. And I did say, on the way of saying I wouldn't help, I said, I will call somebody for the animal though. And I will, if I see him hit by a car or something, I'll call and say, there's a dog on the side of the road, or depending on what it is, a dog or a cat, I might call on. I mean, if a snake is ran over, I'm trying to get him too.
And I think that's what they advise you to do, just as long as you make a call to somebody. The other reason why I wanted to bring this up and clarify some things for myself is a couple of years ago, I was in Wilson, North Carolina. As I'm heading back to Pitt County on 264, all the traffic came to a complete stop. I saw the emergency vehicle lights flash and everything. As I approached the area and got close to it, there was a bear, big black bear, stretched out in the middle of the road. They had to close the entire hallway down because he took up the whole road. There was cranes and fire trucks, just so it was a hot mess. So I see people call because that bear got ran over. But you sort of saw me getting out of that area.
Yes, and I mean, an animal like that, I mean, it's a wild animal. You don't, I mean, if you have good sense, you won't stop to try to help that animal because you're going to be attacked. I
Yeah,
mean, it could possibly even be killed. So the best thing to do is know what to do,
yeah.
and of course, a bear is going to shut down the highway. I've not seen, I don't think I've ever seen a bear. Yes, I saw one years ago on the side of the road, but in another state.
Well,
But
in this case, he wasn't about to move. I don't think he got hit by. I don't think he got hit by a car. He had to get hit by a tractor trailer because he was brought out straight, taking up the whole railway, all 4 feet up in the air.
well, and that's probably what got him, but he probably still dented the tractor trailer because them bears are tough.
Oh yeah, he probably did. He probably did.
He probably dented them very good.
But anyway, what does this some of the things say in the document?
Okay, the document says so what you should do if you spot an animal in distress, whether locked in a hot car, and I never thought about that part of it. Because there are some people that do leave their animals in the car
Yeah.
and think they're gonna run in and out. It's so hot out there until you just cannot do it. You don't need to
That's
leave a
right.
person or an animal in the car.
It's just like when they recommend not leaving a child in the car when they're doing hot car month in North Carolina. You definitely don't want to leave leave a child in a hot car. Just like you don't want to leave an animal in a hot car. If it's 98 degrees outside, imagine how quick that 98 degrees that's outside can heat up that car.
Right. So I had a child the other day who refused to get out of the car, and it was hot, and all the windows were up. So I had to really outsmart him because I wanted him to get out, but he was just acting up with me and wouldn't get out of the car. So what I did was I went to the car and let the windows down because I know he doesn't like flies.
Yeah.
And wherever you're at, the fly is going to find you if you're outside. So
And they're definitely going to get in your car.
yeah, he had food in there too. So when I let down the windows, the flies were coming after the food. And look, I didn't have to say anything else. I looked, he was getting out
He
of
was
that car, getting out of that car, closing them doors.
But that was a good thing that he got in a hard car.
You got to outsmart them, you know what I mean? Sometimes just trying to do stuff. But out of the hot car, when it talks about, it said locked in a hot car or abandoned on the street. So even if you see a dog that is injured or animal, not a dog, but any animal that's in distress on the street, it says your legal and recommended course of action. So legally, so it gives the implication here that you could be charged, by not calling. It said legal.
Because it says legally.
Yeah, your legal and recommended course of action to call 911. Oh, I would hate to see somebody catch me rolling off
Because they will
and
call.
running away
Believe it or not.
and call the police on me.
But they will. The people will do that.
I'm sorry. I don't mean any harm, but I'm just trying to get away,
But I think that's where I got confused when I said it was a state law that says you have to render aid, and I think that's a part of it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
said call 911 immediately. Report the exact location, the
Yeah.
vehicle description, the condition of the animal to local authorities. It said do not force entry. Like if you see them in the car, don't force entry. Don't break those people's window.
No.
Let the emergency people come and do it.
Or you be held liable.
Yeah, because you could be expose you to property damage or trespassing lawsuits. It said document the scene. While waiting for help to arrive, document the situation by noting the time and the emergency's specific abuse, neglect concerns. You can reach out directly to your local animal services too, and you could tell them. It also, the North Carolina Wildlife Helpline at 1-800-314-2401. So you can call them and they will also help you with it. And I mean, even if you see people that are leaving the dog outside, you know how hot it is, and not giving them any protection, and not leaving them food and not leaving them water outside. A dog needs something to drink out in this heat. Can't leave them tethered outside and forget they're out there and not leave them any water. Now, it said, too, what question here? How many dogs can you legally have in North Carolina? And it says, North Carolina law does not impose a statewide limit on the number of dogs a person can own. However, city and county ordinances strictly regulate pet limits.
That's right.
Depending on where you live in the state, you can legally keep anywhere between 2 to 6 dogs before being required to obtain a special kennel permit.
Isn't that something?
6 dogs in one house? I can't see it.
I can't imagine that either.
Ooh, I bet it kind of smells special in there. Local, it said check local regulations for specific municipalities.
And Apostle, while you're on that local part, on that second document, it does have some Pitt County phone numbers. Let me see. I just glanced over and just lost my spot.
It does.
You see it?
Yes. So it has the wildlife division and the local animal control for domestic pets or strays in distress. Report the incident to Pitt County Animal. Oh, we are right down. We are taking our first break. And we want to ask that you come back. And if you come back after this break, we're going to give you not only the phone number of where you can call to get help with an animal in distress, but we're going to give you the studio line number. We have an interesting topic on today. We're going to talk about lupus, but these are some loose ends that we're tying up from last week.
Absolutely.
And we want you to come on back because there's a lot of people that have lupus, and we want to get you this good information. Hey, this is the Glenn Johnson Show, and it's Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins-Williams. You're listening to me right here on Awesome Radio. We want you to come right back after this break because we're going to get in deep and we're going to give you some good information, and we want you to have it. Hey, hang in there with us. Don't turn that dial. Stay right there. We'll be right back in a moment.
Awesome Radio Network will be spreading the love of Jesus to the male residents at McGregor Downs Help Center, Greenville, with a gift bag for Father's Day on Friday, June 19th. If you would like to help donate, $10 will sponsor a bag. We can be reached at 252-756-3137. Visit our website to see the gift bags for our Mother's Day giveaway, awesomeradionetwork.org. Pictures are also on our Facebook page at Awesome Radio WECU. Look for our logo. We can be reached at 252-756-3137. That's 252-756-3137.
Need direction for your life? Here's Pastor Mark Jobe with a word of wisdom.
We're talking about pressing forward, how to go forward in life. Some of you don't know how to pray. Get around people that know how to pray. Some of you have been in that circle at your small group, and they say, okay, well, everybody's going to pray, and they start over there. The next one, and you're counting, okay, it's 2 people over. It's going to be my turn. You're hyperventilating. They say people think you're under conviction. You're just nervous because you have to pray out loud. You want to learn how to pray? Get around people that pray out loud. I don't know how to pray. Join the intercessors group over there. During service, there's people praying. Hang out for an hour with people praying. You're going to learn how to do it.
That was a Bold Steps Minute with Mark Jobe, author of What Now? How to Move into Your Next Season. Learn more at boldstepsradio.org.
Hello, this is C. Say Brown. Thank you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network.
Awesome Radio, yeah, it's awesome, awesome, can you feel it? Awesome, awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins-Williams, here on Awesome Radio Network.org, WECU 1570 AM, 107.5 FM, Winterville, Greenville, North Carolina. You are still tuned into the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins-Williams. Apostle is going to give us some phone numbers for animal control, and then we'll move on with our main topic of discussion on lupus.
Hey, I promise to give you those phone numbers where you could call if it's a domestic pet and you want to get help for that animal. And the phone number here, and this is local animal control for domestic pets or strays, it is 252, wait a minute, 902-1725. Now, that's the local animal, Pitt County Animal Services. But now, if it's cruelty reporting, there's a different phone number. That number is 252 902 1726. That's the cruelty reporting, and that's a different number.
And if I'm not mistaken, here in Greenville, North Carolina, the Greenville City or police have their own animal control along with Pitt County. Is that correct?
Right, and that's what it says here, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, of course, if there's something that's an emergency, you need to just go ahead and just call 911 and tell them. It said here, too, what to do while waiting for help if a professional tells you to safely contain the animal or if the animal is in immediate danger. It said containment. Place the animal in a clean, dry, well-ventilated box lined with towel or newspaper. I just told you. And I hate to say it again. I'm not cruel. I promise I'm not cruel. I'm just not going to do it though.
And given what they just said,
Yeah.
they must be talking about a cat or dog.
Yeah. So quiet and warmth. It said, do not, don't stress the animal. Try to reduce the stress. And it said, don't give it any food or water unless they tell you to. You don't have to worry. I will call on it though. I will call and say, look, y'all need to come over here and get this. There's an animal that's injured. You need to come over here and get it.
You ain't going nowhere in there.
Well, what is it doing? I don't know. I'm looking at it. I saw it from the window. I don't know what it's doing. Where is it? I don't know. You come find it.
You did your part by calling.
That's right. And that's it. That's all you legally need to do is call. You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's sufficient enough. Now, we'd like to move on to our main topic of discussion today. That is lupus. What is lupus? Lupus does not only affect females, it's also found in males. We want to make that very, very clear.
Yes.
So, the topic of discussion today is not to get anybody afraid, but we want to make you so afraid that you will go out and get other information, look for help if you need to.
Yes.
And the information we're going to give today is for information as occasional purpose. Should you suspect you have lupus or any other ailment, make sure you contact a medical professional. Apostle.
Yes. So it asks what causes lupus, and they don't know what causes lupus. That there is no known cause for lupus. But now, Dr. Glenn, I spoke to a woman who I know has lupus, and I asked her, I said, what do you think causes lupus? And she said this to me, and I said, wow, that's something to think about. But she said to me that she believed that trauma causes lupus. Like if you've been through some traumatic situations, that could cause lupus. And I looked at her and I said, because I mean, she's such a sweet person and a nice person. I said, you've been through trauma? And she said, yes. And I looked and said, it's something that we may need to look at because they don't know the known cause. And I want to say this, that lupus is 3 times more likely to develop at an early age in African American people than it is any other race.
Right.
Well, and look at it. I think it's something we need to look at is trauma, because a lot of times, a lot of us go through trauma. A lot of people have suffered through child abuse, sexual abuse, bad relationships, and this, that, and the other, and they have suffered trauma. Or some of the emotional events and things happen in their life can be so deep until it is traumatic. So I can see that. A lot of things happen to the black race.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I wonder why the African American race are so prone to certain things that other races are not. There's a lot of things that African Americans affect African Americans than any other race.
Right, and so that was a great question mark. And when she said that, my eyes kind of squinted and I looked. I mean, we can't label it that, but we also know that a lot of people that have had or that have lupus have also been through some kind of trauma.
Yeah,
At least all the people that I know, the ladies that I know, they've had some kind of trauma.
Before this broadcast ends, I have quite a few audio tracks, but 3 in particular that belongs to a few people that's in the entertainment industry, like Nick Cannon and Tony Braxton, both who suffer from lupus. And I know some other things because my associate minister at the church that I go to, she has lupus. And we had a lupus Sunday service last week. So I was hoping she would be on today, but she's going through some things, and unfortunately she couldn't make it today.
Yes, and trauma, Dr. Glenn, just mentioning that as a close, can be a generational curse, something that's passed down from generation to generation, that every generation goes through some trauma, some type of traumatic event.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to say is, I remember asking her if I could use some of the information when I do my speaking engagement for crisis intervention training with law enforcement first responders at Pitt Community College. And she responded by saying, well, hers is not really that she's intoxicated or nothing, although an associate at a department store misinterpreted or I'm trying to think of the word. Anyway, she mistakenly thought that she was intoxicated when she was not. She was having a symptom of her lupus. So what that store associate thought was intoxication was not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Dr. Glenn. Lupus Awareness Month, we're getting ready to go out on another break in a couple of minutes. Lupus Awareness Month is in May, and I'm sad we missed it. We should have did this show back in May, but here we are making you aware of it. But the color for Lupus Awareness Month is purple. It said, wear purple to show support and participate in World Lupus Day. And that color, that purple ribbon, is for lupus. I think it's a beautiful color. Dr. Glenn.
I believe so.
Dr. Glenn, do you want to do one of your audios? Do you have one that is a quick?
Because we have 1 minute, I think they're all 4 of us longer than 1 minute.
They're more than 1 minute. Okay, well, we will wait and we will look. We will get that a little bit more, but we want to invite you to call in, and I forgot to give you that number. The number to the studio is 252-756-2008. If you want to call in and have something to say on our broadcast here on today, we would love to have you on. Last week, I made the statement that I didn't know any men that had lupus. And when I was walking in the studio today, I was reminded that I knew someone, or someone said to me, I saw someone for years I hadn't seen them in a long time. And when I saw them, they didn't look well. And I asked someone, what was going on with them, and they said that they think that the male had lupus, and he had some signs on his skin that looked like lupus. So I want to say that lupus is not, like Dr. Glenn said, just a female disease, though I know more women with it and only heard of one male with it. It is a disease that both can have. It's an autoimmune disease. And when we come back, after we listen to one of Dr. Glenn's audios, we will look at what lupus is and how it affects the body, because a lot of times we hear that name, but we don't understand how it affects the body. We say it's lupus and it's an autoimmune disease, but we need to look at it and see how it affects the body. So, hey, we want you to hang in there and come on back after this break. We're going to come back and talk about lupus. If you know someone with it, be reminded to be kind to them and wish them well. Hey, this is Glenn Johnson's show. You're listening to us on Awesome Radio. Right back in a moment.
Living on the edge may feel normal, but it can also get exhausting. Hi, I'm Rob West with a Faith and Finance Minute. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up, but fools gulp theirs down." That's a picture of margin. The wise don't spend everything, they leave room. For many people, every dollar already feels accounted for, and when there's no margin, even small setbacks can feel overwhelming. A surprise expense or change in income quickly becomes a crisis. Margin creates breathing room. It gives you space to rest and creates room for generosity, so you can give when God prompts, not just when it's convenient. So as God provides, look for small ways to create space in your finances and in your life, because where margin exists, so does freedom to trust God and serve others. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
I am Miss Mary Cox. I'm Killer Fickton's mother from Awesome Radio.
Awesome Radio. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Can you feel it? Awesome. Awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Collins Williams, here on Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU, Winterville, Greenville, North Carolina. I would like to go to at least 2 or 3 audio clips, at least 2 from the Grammy Award winner, Tony Braxton, and then Nick Cannon. And all these are intimidated, but they all suffer from lupus. Here's the first one, Tony Braxton.
Mm-hmm.
Say something.
Hello?
Go ahead. I forgot to hook up the cords.
Hey, Dr. Glenn is working on our audio difficulty. We have something not plugged in, and we're going to get it plugged in. But I wanted to say to you while he's getting it together over there that one of the key awareness facts, the impact lupus occurs when the immune system attacks healthy tissue. So it's like your immune system in your body just begins to fight against your own body, which we don't know what triggers that and brings that about, causing inflammation and damage to organs like skin, joints, kidneys, and heart. And I want to say I see a lot of people with lupus that do have signs of it on their skin, or else it could turn their skin very dark or have very dark spots and splotchy spots outwardly on their face. I've seen several people that have dark spots on their face.
And we're ready for that first audio clip.
All right, Dr. Glenn.
Tony Braxton.
I wanted to know, Tony, how do you balance your family life and your career while dealing with lupus and its many symptoms?
You know, some days I can't balance it at all. I just have to lay in bed. Pretty much when you have lupus, you feel like you have the flu every day. But some days you get through it. But for me, if I'm not feeling well, I tend to tell my kids, oh, Mommy's just going to relax in bed today. I kind of take it easy. But it is challenging when I'm working because I have to put on that smiley face anyway, or I have to do a show and perform for an hour, hour and a half. That's the toughest part when I have to perform. So often when it's like that, it's a lot of you sing to the audience. You know, they kind of help me out a little bit without realizing it.
Well, and I think it's not even I would argue that the toughest part is not the performing, but when you can't perform, and people don't, because it's not a visible disability.
Exactly.
So you're looking not only gorgeous, but the picture of health. So if you're just like, I really can't perform today, it can come across as diva.
You know, and I've never done that. Even if I can't perform, I still figure it out.
How do you figure it out?
I don't know sometimes. Sometimes I look back like that evening and go, how did I get through that? But friends and family support me, but I just try to put on a smiley face and get through it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mohan, Professor.
Hi everyone, I'm Tony Braxton, and I'm a lupus patient and advocate on the board of Lupus LA. The Lupus Initiative is all about improving diagnosis and treatment for future lupus patients, which mostly affects minority women. I know the personal feelings of having lupus and what it's like to go without getting the correct diagnosis, the symptoms and how they were mistaken, and the length of time and the emotional frustration of not being heard and the physical consequences I experienced due to the delayed diagnosis. There were so many signs like joint pain, chronic fatigue, etc., but no one tested for lupus until my blood count dropped twice. Now what I want to say to doctors is, when a young woman walks into your office, she's supposed to be healthy. If she's not, lupus has to be considered. Patients can be their own advocates. We need to know the symptoms so we can speak up for ourselves and ask the doctors the most important question.
Okay, I cut that short to give Apostle a little bit of time to give commentary.
Yes, it talked about here, and that was Tony Braxton, and we all know her as an R&B singer who has lupus. And one of the things she talked about there, and she used this term, her and the doctor that it's an invisible disease, and I think we need to talk about that. But first, let me tell you that the demographics is disproportionately affects women 9 out of 10 cases. So it'll only be 1 out of 10 that is male, 9 out of 10 that's female. So almost 3 times more than men.
And another thing she mentioned was it's just like having the flu every day.
Yeah, so it's the invisible disease, and because sometimes you may not necessarily have any symptoms, but you may not necessarily have any outward symptoms that where people can look at you and say, oh, you have lupus. But it says because common symptoms include extreme fatigue. So you be tired all the time. You have joint pain. So all of these things are internal, and fevers. The daily toll of the disease is often invisible to outsiders. So you can tell that that person is struggling with it, and they're struggling with extreme fatigue, in that their muscles, or they seem like they have the flu, like she said, fatigue, joint pain, and having fevers all the time.
Yeah, and we have 4 minutes to go before we go to the next break. Then we'll be back with 20 more minutes. But if there's a call out there, listener out there rather, that's listening, who would like to call in with a comment or question, please do so before we go to the break. If not, you have to wait till after the break. So the number to call, 252-756-2008. We're standing by and waiting for your call. We have 3 minutes to go, Apostle.
Well, it said also that in males, men can experience unexpected weight loss, that they could just come up with the same core symptoms as women, but all of a sudden have unexplained weight loss. One of the things that it talks about is skin rashes, and I think I talked about that a lot of times you can see something visibly on the skin that darkens.
Yeah.
And it says here, common triggers of lupus. What can trigger it? Ultraviolet rays from the sun or fluorescent light. So being outside in the sun, that, and I do know specifically that some of the people that I know that I've worked with that had lupus, they would say, I cannot stay outside in the heat.
Yeah, I heard that before.
Yeah, they will not stay outside in the heat. They say they can't go. And it says certain antibiotic drugs. So antibiotic drugs can trigger lupus symptoms, having an infection, exhaustion, feeling very tired, stress to the body like getting hurt or having surgery. These are all triggers for lupus symptoms. Emotional distress, like being very busy or having problems at home. It sounds a little bit akin to trauma.
Yeah.
Emotional problems.
But as I said earlier, this topic today is not to frighten anyone, make you afraid. I just want to make you afraid enough that you will go and seek help, get checked out. As with any other medical condition, get checked out. So I want you to be afraid enough to go see somebody about something.
Yes. It said that with men, it generally strikes later in life versus the females, that it strikes earlier in life. And it said between the ages of 45 and 60 for men. And the man that I knew that was suspected of having it, he was an older man. I mean, he was he was 60 plus.
Really?
So, yeah, so I do see that being the case of the one case of a male that I knew that was suspected. It said they often experience more severe inflammation of the linings around the lungs and higher rates of central nervous system involvement. So they have a little bit more around the lungs and trouble with breathing than the women who have the joint pain. So that's one of the differences between the men and the women. And it said men face higher rates of hypertension, thrombosis, blood clots, and cardiovascular incidents like heart attacks.
Yeah.
So they'll be more likely to have a heart attack with lupus than a female will.
And all the things you guys mentioned about the men, all those are life-threatening.
Definitely life-threatening. There's a lot
50
of men
seconds.
that have it. Oh, yeah, we're getting ready to go out on another break here. And really, we'd love to have a male to call in that has lupus. Like I said, I've talked to several women that I know closely that have lupus, and, they'll tell me some things, or just by being around them, I've heard certain things, or ailments and certain things, and they'll say it's a flare-up from their lupus.
Yeah, if anybody would like to call with a comment or question, please do so. The number to call is 252-756-2008. But do it after we come from the break in 1 minute. Apostle, take us out of bed 10 seconds.
Yes, hey, hang in there. I'm going to give you some symptoms of lupus that you may not understand and that you can check yourself out and see if you have it. This is the Glenn Johnson Show. We will be right back in a moment. Right back.
It's early morning. A parent is getting their child ready for school. Across town, someone's preparing for an important medical appointment. In moments like these, one thing matters most. Who can you trust to get your loved ones there safely? That's where Emmaus Travels comes in. Founded in Greenville, Emmaus Travels was built on one mission: to provide safe, dependable rides for students and adults needing medical transportation in Eastern North Carolina. Our drivers aren't just drivers. They're trained, vetted, and compassionate people who understand that every ride matters. Because to us, it's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about peace of mind. It's about knowing your child is in good hands, your loved one is cared for, and every journey is handled with respect. So when you're making that important decision, choose the one that truly cares. Learn more at EmmausTravels.org or call 252-412-3169. That's 252-412-3169. Emmaus Travels. We go the extra mile.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Collins-Williams. We have reached our final 20 minutes of today's broadcast. We're going to continue our topic with lupus. And Apostle will have some tips. And what does she say?
Symptoms.
Symptoms, yeah.
Subtle symptoms.
I can remember what you said.
Yeah, we're going to give you some symptoms of some symptoms of lupus that your doctor may want you to know, and something that you need to look for. And it says, do you have a butterfly-shaped rash on your face? And remember, I said to you that I've seen a lot of people that have it. They'll have a dark spot on their face. Now, when they say butterfly shape, we just automatically assume that it's coming across the bridge of the nose, but it can just be coming up on the cheek and be a round shape like the butterfly wing.
Yeah, that's why I thought when you said that.
Yes.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yes. So some of them dark, like a big round, darker spot that has a different texture than the rest of the skin, and it'll be on your face.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've had some relatives that I've looked at it very closely, and I thought it looked like the skin the texture looked like it had been burned because it was so dark, but it was actually lupus.
We have 8 minutes to go before this for this segment, and I'm going to mention this again. I would like for some of our listeners to call in if they have a comment or question, particularly if you have a comment. Please call 252-756-2008. We are standing by, waiting for your call.
Now, I said it, and I said that it looked like a burn to me, and there it is. It says if lupus has a calling card, it's a sunburn-like rash that stretches across the nose and cheeks in the shape resembling a butterfly. It's highly suggestive of lupus. So if you have something that breaks out on you like that, you need to see the doctor and see if it's lupus.
I know a lot of times when somebody break out with something like that, there's a dark red or purplish color. Does it mention anything about that?
Well, I think it's the same thing, Dr. Glenn. It will be a darker color, purplish color.
Yeah,
is the
that's what I
darkest
thought.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the one relative that I knew that had the dark spot on their face, it was in right there that was kind of round shaped. They had lupus, but they were a darker skinned person, period. So the manifestation of it on their skin was a lot darker. It looked like it was burned. So I'm sure that in lighter skin, it may look purplish.
Purplish, yeah. That's what I thought.
Yes. So it said fever that won't go away. You can have a fever. You're feeling feverish all the time. It could be a sign of inflammation, and some patients may have feverish during a lupus flare-up. While having a fever isn't unique to lupus, if you have a fever, you just can't shake it or it keeps returning. It's best to see a doctor, especially if you notice the other signs of the disease.
And I have a 3-minute audio clip on lupus signs and symptoms. If you'd like to play after the final 10 minutes.
It says also rashes or sores that appear on your skin after going outside. So the sunlight, people that have lupus are especially sensitive to the sunlight. And we said that they will say that they can't go out, they can't get too hot, or they can't sit in the direct sun because they have lupus. Very often, the people with lupus are photosensitive, meaning their skin is very sensitive to ultraviolet light. Breakouts typically occur on sun-exposed areas of the body, including the face, the neckline, and arms. UV
You know
light
what?
exposure. Uh-huh.
That's almost like polymorphous light eruption, being allergic to the sun.
Very sensitive with it when they have lupus. They can break out with a rash just from being out there.
Just
Like I
being
said,
out.
I know some people, and they would go out in the sun, but they put on a hat. I don't have that same issue. I have a hat just because I don't want to be roasted to death, and I'm hot out there. But they had to wear their hats trying to protect their skin from the sun.
That's right.
So it is just like you said, very similar to that polymorphism. So also they need to slather on sunscreen before heading outdoors. They get intense sun exposure, they get a rash, and they come home and the rash doesn't go away. And then boom, 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 all these other things start happening. So it's almost like that particular rash sets off a chain of events.
Remember when we talked about that? When we did sunscreen and been out in the sun?
Yeah, definitely. We recently did one of those and we talked about that. It says sore and stiff joints are a part of everyday life. That it's a part of it. Sometimes lupus is mistaken for rheumatoid arthritis because both diseases can cause joint pain and stiffness, often in the hands, wrists, and ankles. Joint symptoms are the main feature of RA, but one of many signs of lupus. So it could be mistaken for rheumatoid arthritis. Can you imagine how many people think they have arthritis and they actually have lupus?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It
It's
says,
a terrible thing.
when you wake up in the morning, you feel like the Tin Man, like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. You can't get moving.
He's all rusty and tight.
After you've been sitting for a while, the joints almost feel like they've got gel in them. So it's a struggle to keep moving when you have lupus. I mean, I'm really having, and looking at these particular symptoms, having more of appreciation for the ladies that I know that are working and that are working through lupus, the flare-ups. Hey, we have a caller that is right here on the line with us, and we're going to answer and get this caller on.
Good day, caller. You're live on the Glenn Johnson Show. You have a comment or question?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of just joining. I was trying to watch you guys live. Hello, Apostle.
Hello, how are you?
I know. Good. I know you're looking good, but I'm calling to ask you guys a couple of things. Talk about lupus. I had a girl earlier who told me she's in her mid-60s, and she said it's an anti-immune system. You guys know that, but she said that her teeth are losing their grip. She's, I don't know if this pertains to the show, but that's what she's going through. So she's constantly going to the dentist trying to get partials to fit, but her gums keep getting weaker. Do you have any comment on that?
Well, first of all, let me just mention this. I'm recognizing your voice. I think you're a caller from Ohio. Is that correct?
Well, yes, the Buckeye State. We're not doing as good as you guys, but yes, Ohio.
That's our caller. That's our caller in Ohio. But caller, let me ask you another question. I think I heard that before, what you just said. And if I'm not mistaken, you kind of like a transportation guy. And I think you had told me once before, somebody was telling you something about their symptoms with lupus.
Right. And because you need to eat, and her being older, her partials aren't holding. She keeps getting them refitted because they're loose. Her gums are weakening.
Well, as you get older, your gums could shrink anyways. You could suffer with bone loss and different things there. So it may not necessarily be a symptom of lupus or autoimmune disease. But if she told you that she has that, there are more than one autoimmune disease. Lupus doesn't have anything on any of the material that I looked at that talked about weakening gums.
Okay.
It didn't
Okay,
talk
well,
about
maybe
any
that's
dental loss or anything like that. I did talk about hair loss, and I haven't gotten to that yet.
right. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out if that's the truth because I'm near her age, so I'm kind of, curious. So, thank you. You guys have a great show.
Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for participating with us. Hey, we're getting ready to go out on one more break here, and we have a few more things to get with. You have a little bit more time. If you ever want to call in, or there's more time, and you can get on the line with us if you have some questions or some comments that you'd like to make. Again, I want to say to our caller, thank you for calling in and participating. That's a very interesting question. Hey, we want you to come right back once we're done with this break, and we have some more information because we're going to talk about the swelling. We're going to talk about the hair loss. We're going to talk about numbness in the body because all of those are signs of lupus. And sometimes you may see when you're going through swelling that the doctor may try to test you for autoimmune disease, or some of your symptoms look like you may have an autoimmune disease and they may test you for lupus. Hey, we'll be right back after this break. This is Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams.
I want to thank our caller for calling in. Thank you, caller.
This summer, imagine walking into a quiet office space designed for focus, creativity, and growth. The atmosphere is peaceful, professional, and private. And for just a moment, you can breathe, think, create, and build your business without distraction. From June 1st through August 31st, LJPK Business Center is offering 20% off office space and conference room rentals during their summer savings promotion. Located at 210 South Washington Street in downtown Greenville, LJPK Business Center offers quiet private offices, conference space, private parking, secure print service, free Wi-Fi, plus complimentary snacks, coffees, and teas. Whether you're meeting with clients, launching a dream, hosting a workshop, or simply needing a professional place to work, LJPK Business Center is ready for you this summer. Need more details? Call 252-420-1355. That's 252-420-1355.
What's your take on adversity? I'm Lena Abijamra, and this is Today's Single Christian. Most of us have a strong opinion on adversity. We hate it. Yet adversity is the bridge to a deeper relationship with God. Think about it. It's in our point of greatest need that we'll finally get on our knees and ask for help. It's in the middle of a massive flood that we'll cry out to God for a boat. It's in our deepest pain that we look for healing. In Philippians 3, Paul wrote this, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and may share his sufferings, becoming like him in his death. Do you long to know God more? Have you prayed to know God more? Don't be surprised at the trials and adversity in your life. Each obstacle you face is meant to shape you into a clearer image of the Savior. It's in your suffering that your fellowship with the Savior is nearest. Won't you yield to God no matter what comes your way, trusting his presence to guide you through to the other side? For resources to help you do that, visit todaysinglepchristian.com.
Awesome radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome. Awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. I was about to play another audio clip, but I see Apostles over in her section, little studio, with her scratchy, bad, sticky notes and highlighter. So I'm going to go right back to Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams.
Hey, Dr. Glenn. Yes, I'm over here, the Sticky Note Queen. I have a bunch of them over here, and I'm underlining, and I did highlight some things. I want to say to the caller, if you're still listening, now we said that it didn't affect the mouth like that, but the gums, but it does affect the mouth. And what I want to say with that is that it can cause mouth sores. Now, not a shrinkage of the gums where you have to get your dentures refitted, but it can cause mouth sores or sores in the mouth, like canker sores on the roof of the mouth or tongue, or even the nose, and can last a few days or a month, according to the College of Rheumatology. So it definitely can have sores in your mouth.
That's got to be painful.
It definitely is. It says if you experience swelling when you have it, You'll get a lot of swelling, swollen lymph nodes, puffiness around your eyes. This can be a sign of lupus too. Some people will present with swelling in their legs. The very first thing they're getting is kidney failure. So that swelling in the legs can bother your kidneys. Definitely, if you're having some symptoms and a bunch of these together, you need to talk to the doctor.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm late to say this because she's not here, but Minister Kathy Harper at my church, she did mention those two things specifically, if I'm not mistaken.
She's the swelling in the legs.
Yeah, and the diabetes, the kidney.
The kidney attacking your kidneys. Swollen lymph nodes, puffiness around your eyes. So people that have swelling and puffiness around their eyes. And then number 6 said that you could be losing your hair. Some of these other symptoms, there's a lot of other things that could go that mimic or parallel, having lupus, because some thyroid symptoms are very much the same here with the puffy eyes, eye problems, and swollen lymph nodes and stiffness in the body. You can have a low thyroid and still have the same symptoms as if you have lupus.
Yeah, because I want to mention something. The last document that I gave you, the one where I had to go out back in 3-2, it mentioned 12 things. But those 12 things had subsections that I didn't get because we would have ended up with about 6, 7, 8 pages.
Oh, yeah.
But with the information we have, I don't know when to get to all. We might have to do part 2 next week. I know Lupus Awareness Month was May, but we're just getting around to it, so we apologize for that. But we might come back with a part 2 next week.
Yes, so losing your hair. And as I said, thyroid is one that'll also cause your hair to thin. But this is losing your hair. Hair loss with lupus can be patchy. Leaves little bald spots on your head. Lord help. Sometimes you might think that they're having another hair issue, a psoriasis or something, and they're really just losing hair because of lupus. It can be diffuse, causing thinning all over the scalp. Sometimes a rash develops in the balding areas.
Yeah, I was going to say it almost sounds like cancer, but when you said that, I thought, well, when somebody loses hair because of cancer, it's more or less the chemotherapy.
Yes. It said your fingers or toes blanch and go numb. So numbness in your fingers and toes, all of a sudden, your foot has went to sleep, your foot has gotten numb, and you don't really understand what's happening there. Dr. Glenn, is this our last 10 minutes that we're in?
Yes, it is.
Yes, we are. So I need to push this very fast. Number 8, you are wiped out. So you are totally tired all the time. You are fatigued, profound fatigue all the time. You're just tired all the time. You can't, it said you hit a wall and can't function kind of fatigue. Sometimes where you don't have a choice except to lay down and get some rest.
Yeah, because that's probably all you can do.
It said you're experiencing chest pains. So lupus can cause chest pains. They may think that they're having a heart attack. It hurts to cough or breathe deeply. It could be inflammation of the lining of the lungs. And we talked about that with men more than women. But it can be inflammation, or it could be a sharp pain when you breathe in and out. It can also inflame the lining of the heart, which causes chest pain too. This type of chest pain changes based on your position. If you lie down on your back, it hurts. If you sit up and lean forward, it feels better.
But 9 times out of 10, you'll know if you're having a heart attack, because from my experience dealing with the patients and people who were having a heart attack, they said it was almost as an elephant was standing on their chest.
Oh yeah, so it's not that bad. It really is not. It's not that type of deep pain, but it is. There will be some pain here. And change of position. If you change position having a heart attack, that's not going to affect anything. But if you change your position and it's just the pain from having lupus, from inflammation around something, it will feel better just to change your position.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it said red dots are showing up on your skin. So you'll have red little dots on your skin. It said lupus can attack your platelets, blood cells that help your body form clots to stop bleeding. When you have low levels of platelets, you can develop tiny red dots on your skin. People will also notice little red spots, little red blood spots on their legs caused by their blood vessels are leaking blood. So you can have like bruises on your legs where you got broken blood vessels and you don't know how that happened.
And Apostle, we're definitely going to do a part 2 next week because we got 3 minutes to go before we go in the broadcast. But because of what you just said about the red spots and I'm dark skinned, does it say anything about dark skin versus light skin and the showing of blood plots?
It did not, but even dark skin, I'm sure, because I'm dark skinned too. I'm not quite as dark as you, Dr. Glenn, but I am dark, and I do see broken blood vessels sometimes. And I mean, I get them if I hit it or something, you know what I mean, and playing too rough or this, that, and the other, bumped it up against the table, and I look, and I can see blood vessels. So I'm sure if you look closely, you still can see them no matter how dark you are.
And the reason why I asked that question, when we do part 2, I'm going to bring up another document that mentions that specifically.
Yes, and it said your head hurts and you can't think straight. So it talks also about lupus fog, where you have some brain fog where you cannot remember certain things, and that's a part having problems with your memory, concentration, or cognitive issues dubbed as lupus fog. And it says 50% of the people with lupus report those types of symptoms. It's not all in your head. It can attack your brain and nervous system. You're going to develop migraine-like headaches due to inflammation of the blood vessels. And when lupus attacks the nerves, they can experience numbness or tightness in the motor sensory nerves. It also said this, that when a young woman has lupus, and a lot of times they diagnose the onset of lupus because the young woman has a stroke first, Dr. Glenn. That surprised me when it said that. 30s and 40s come in with a stroke. Everyone's thinking, how could this happen? Oftentimes, that'll be the onset of the diagnosis of lupus.
Yeah, because a lot of times the younger people don't think these things can happen to them. Like before I moved from the Jersey Shore, I remember being at a convenience store, and somehow the young ladies were talking about somebody having a heart attack. And I remember telling them, hey, look, heart attack doesn't have an age. You could be 2 months old and have a heart attack. You could be any age and have a heart attack. Just don't look at it at old people. Anybody can suffer from a heart attack.
And right, this particular stroke from lupus is common with young women. They will diagnose that lupus because of the stroke. Hey, we're down at the bottom of our hour here, and we're going to ask that you would come back next week because we're going to continue this with a part 2. We have some more interesting things that we want you to know about lupus, and I know that we revealed a lot of symptoms today that you may want to look at yourself and see if you fall into the category and not understanding why you're so tired, not understanding why you have joint pain, why you have chest pain, losing hair. Some of the symptoms you have could be lupus. Talk to your doctor about it and get yourself checked out. Dr. Glenn?
I want to thank everybody tuning in. I hope we brought you some great information. Join us next week. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Hey, we'll see you next week.
Awesome radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome Radio Network will be spreading the love of Jesus to the male residents at McGregor Downs Health Center, Greenville, with a gift bag for Father's Day